guys, welcome back to Mayfield Ranch. My name's Katie and today I'm going to show you what I'm using for plant markers. So I don't know if you guys have trouble like I do, but each year I think I'm going to label my plants, I'm going to remember what they are. I want to be able to plant something again if I lose something. So always every year when we plan out the garden, something happens. Either we just lose a couple plants, we have a late freeze, perhaps something just doesn't really thrive. Well, when they're small and they're not producing, sometimes it's difficult for me to differentiate between the type of pepper or the type of tomato that I put somewhere. So I want to have a marker that's super simple that I can use. So you guys, this is what I made. Let me show you what they ended up looking like. I just took River Rock and painted them white. I put some labels on them and then I sealed it with like a UV sealant. Now, I just used materials that I had on hand. So these didn't really cost me anything. I just kind of rummaged through our cabinets in the garage and got some materials and used what we had. If you don't have a label maker, if you know somebody that has a Cricut, they can print the labels for you. You can also purchase different labels. These are just vinyl labels. And there's plenty of options. I'll even show you a paint pen option if you guys have access to that. So let me show you how I'm gonna use these and how I made them. Okay, you guys, these are super simple to make. So I just grabbed some spray paint. And if you don't have any spray paint, go look in your husband's garage. There's probably cabinets out there. I'm sure he's got some spray paint somewhere that he's not using that you can use. So I just grabbed some River Rock and cleaned it up. I did kind of clean ours up because it was out in the animal area. Grabbed about 3 different bottles of spray paint. This one's like almost empty, so I keep shaking it around trying to use it. Spray these rocks. Now, it did take me a few coats, so I ended up doing this over a couple of days. I just went out every 15-20 minutes, like before, after work, coated these a few different times, so you'll see me doing that here. Like I said, I'm just shaking this can because it's almost empty. I used things we had on hand here, and we had a few different brands of white paint. Any white spray paint will work for this project, and just keep coating these until you get them thoroughly coated. Okay, so best practice with spray paint is to stay about 10 inches back from the item that you're trying to paint, just so you get a really nice even coat and you don't have runs, and you're going to want to let it dry in between coats. Now, do as I say, not as I do. Of course, I'm just loading these suckers up with paint and I'm trying to be super efficient. Hey, Keeks. My cat came over here to visit. She's such a cute little kitty cat. I need to get her out of here so I could finish painting these. But I'm going to flip all these rocks over. They're dry. So I'm going to flip all these rocks over so I can paint the bottom. You can see that there are some runs here because I was being a little aggressive with the paint. And also because I'm using this like garbage bag to paint on top of, there is like a little excess paint stuck. It didn't end up causing me any trouble, but that's what you're seeing there. So I got these all flipped over. I'm just going to... Well, I'm going to pet the cat here and let her get out of the way. I don't want to spray paint while she's right here, but as soon as I shake this can, yep, she's going to take off. So, okay, so let's go ahead and get the second side of these things coated. I'm just trying to get them all painted so I can get to the next step of labeling. So hit these all with a couple more coats of paint and we'll get them all white. Now, I decided I wanted to do mine all white with black labels. I have seen different ideas that look pretty cute. Like I've seen people paint rocks like the vegetable or fruit that it is. So there's all kinds of ideas. I'm sure if you look on Pinterest or different YouTube videos, you can get some different ideas. But I just wanted a pretty basic standard look. So that's what I went with. So I'm just finishing up another coat here. You can see those drips, but you load on enough paint and it covers them right up. So it's no problem. So I'm just finishing this all up. Okay, so this is what my rocks look like, all finished. We're going to get these in the house so we can get the labels on. So I got a Cricut, and so we just printed out these vinyl labels and get some transfer tape. You're going to take your label, you want a transfer tape cut that's about the size of the label, peel off the backing, put that transfer tape on top of your vinyl label. Now, I should mention that we did weed out the center of the vinyl label. So like the little spaces in the A's and the P's, we took that out. You're going to take this transfer tape and you're going to put your label on your rock. Now I cut a little slit here in my transfer tape because the rock is curved, and that just made it a little bit easier for me to get that label adhered to the rock. And so I'm going to press down the labeling really well. And then the next thing you do is you just peel off this transfer tape. So this is what it ends up looking like once we have the label on the rock, and I think that looks pretty good. So we're just going to do this a bunch more times. And here's that weeding tool that I'm using. Like for the R, I need to pull it out so you can see how that works. And one other tip that I'll share with you is I'm reusing the same piece of transfer tape over and over. And sometimes it's hard to get that label to come off. So I just take the backing, I like flip it over and kind of fold the backing over. And then that ends up working pretty well. Okay, and I put the label on, and this is what this one looks like for Carolina Reaper. So I just wanted to show you these paint markers that you could use if you don't have access to a vinyl label. I actually did try this first because I thought it'd be faster, but my handwriting just is not nice enough, so I went with vinyl label. But if you want to save on cost and you have a paint pen, then just use that. Okay, this is what all my rocks look like now that I have the labels on them. So next we're going to take these outside because I want to put a sealant on them. Okay, so we're back outside. I brought them out. Here's a sealant I'm using. Now this is a UV sealant, and I'm just going to put a coat of this over all of them. I'm trying to get something that will last me year after year, so that's my objective. I definitely don't want to be doing this each year. It was a little bit of work. So I'm going to put this UV sealant over them and just let it dry. I did end up doing a couple coats of this, and then since this was a flat sealer, I actually came back with a high gloss sealer. After this dried, I did 2 coats of the UV and came back with a high gloss because I wanted it to look a little shiny, and did 1 coat of high gloss and then let them dry. So let me show you how the finished product looks. Okay, it's time to put these in place, and these plants are growing a little wily coyote. So I'm gonna go ahead and just place them in there like so. And I've got a Brazilian starfish right back here. Now you guys, I had to There's my Brazilian starfish. Let's see if we can see him. So he's kind of getting shaded out by this lemon drop pepper. And then I've got my Sugar Rush peach plants right here. So I'm just going to go ahead and throw this label in. So you can see that. I'm going to take these over and put them on too. So I'll put my little Roma label in here. So we'll put the Aunt Molly's label in over here by our ground cherry. So I know where the jalapenos are. I'm just going to toss this in there. So I've got my shishito peppers here. So I'm just going to put this little label in. All right, and I'm going to put my orange habanero label just right down in here. Well, it's not a perfect spot for it. How about we put it up front right here? That works. You guys were just placing them out, but this is what they end up looking like. Okay guys, so you saw what I did with those labels. Do me a favor, if you got this far in the video and you like what you saw, please hit that like button and leave me a comment down below and let me know, what do you think of the labels? Any bets on if they're gonna last year after year? I'll show you guys each week on the garden tour and we'll see how they're doing, but I'm super hopeful that this is going to be a good solution so that I can stick these rock labels right out when I'm planting my plants, and I don't have to worry about coming back later. You know, I always have the best of intentions to come back later and get those labeled. So leave me a comment down below if you think you've got a better idea, because I'm open to new ideas, and I'll give you guys updates each week on how this works. See you guys later. Thanks you guys so much for watching. We definitely appreciate that. If you're not already subscribed, please be sure to do so. And click this link right here if you haven't seen our previous videos. It's got our garden playlist, so you can check out what the garden looks like each week. All right, see you guys next week.